Hey everybody, Paul Turner here from thediscipleproject.net, here with another video for today, and not just any video, but my first sponsored video, and I'll get into who that is and who's sponsoring here in just a minute, but I want to talk to you about how to make a more humble youth ministry. You see, there's this thing in the church about being a celebrity pastor, a celebrity youth pastor, being a rock star pastor, having a rock star youth ministry, and that kind of verbiage and that kind of talk. And the season we're in, which is Christmas time, there could be nothing further from being rock star status, because Jesus himself came to earth to humble himself. God himself came to earth, humbled himself to be with us. And so when I hear terms like rock star and, rock star youth ministry and all those kinds of things, it's such a disconnect for me, because I don't see youth ministry or the church being rock stars. I see the church being humble. I see the church being a servant of the world, not some sort of thing to be worshipped in the world. And so, Jesus himself said, listen, I have come to serve, not to be served. And that's what Jesus did. And that's what he demonstrated all throughout his life. Isaiah 52:1 says, speaking of the Messiah, says that he grew up before him like a young plant and like a root out of the dry ground. He didn't have any impressive form or majesty that we should look at him, no appearance that we should desire him. Jesus didn't come to be a rock star. He didn't come to be a celebrity. And yet that seems to be a permeating thought within our culture, is that youth ministries or youth pastors or churches have to attain this great thing in order to be an influence in the world. And with Carl Lentz, and if you don't know Carl Lentz was a pastor of Hillsong, New York City, and recent revelations of him being unfaithful to his wife has caused him to step down, and all those things. And he was, for all intents and purposes, a rock star pastor. He had, celebrities in his church. He ministered to Justin Bieber. He had all these things, the way he dressed and the way he did these things. Once again, Carl is a human being, but a lot of people came alongside of him and lifted him up to that status, and he bought into that status. And so, he became a celebrity pastor, which makes it even more difficult, for people to serve, I think, when they're trying to uphold this title of celebrity. So what do we do about this as youth ministries? Well, we have to figure out how to infuse more humility within our youth ministry. Humility begins with the youth pastor, right? Listen, if you have a desire to be a rock star youth pastor, may I encourage you to abandon that. If you want to be humble, start by giving away your ministry. If you have to feel like you always have to be up in front of people and you always have to do the ministry and you always have to maintain this image, it's just not worth it. What's better is that you give away the ministry. Give it away to other people where you're not the sole person on stage having to do everything, to where all eyes are focused on you. So it starts with you being the youth pastor and saying, look, I am the servant of all. I'm not here to be served. And, you could do things. Like example I gave for my team one time, I had a staff meeting with them, and it was right when I got to a new church, and I washed their feet because I wanted to send the message. Once again, that's not a humble brag on my part, but that's just something I wanted to do, to say, look, I'm here to serve. I'm not here to be your boss. I'm not here to have rock star ministry. I'm just here to serve. And the problem with culture is that it doesn't want you to do that. It wants you to attain. It wants you to reach certain heights. And I'm saying I'm going the other direction. I don't want all of that. I just want to do my thing and love Jesus and love kids and all that. But as youth pastors, we have to set the example. And I think the first example that you can do is give away the ministry to other people and let other people have that spotlight. The second thing I think that youth pastors can do is integrate it throughout the service, right? Not only having other people do the service, but, using worship as an opportunity for humility, not technology. We can become so proud of our worship teams. We can become proud of the slides that are made. We grade the service on how well things sounded. But in reality, worship is about giving people an opportunity to humble themselves, to help people change their posture before God. From one of, listen, I'm proud to be a Christian, to, listen, I am humbled because I understand that I'm a sinner and that God loves me and God's grace is upon me. And I get to humble myself, and we get to help them change that posture in their heart. And we can do that through, simply doing simple things like asking people to just be quiet and hold out their hands, and receive from God. Sometimes it's about, getting people to, getting students maybe on their knees, or, turning around and kneeling at their chair, or kneeling at an altar, or bowing, or any of those things. And that's, that's just a whole concept. You say, well, that makes people awkward. Well, what's awkward is standing before a holy God and thinking you're better than him, or thinking that you deserve what he's giving you, or that's really awkward, is believing that you're the center of the universe. And that's kind of that's an awkward thing. We don't want our students to do that. We don't want to debase students, but we want to give students the opportunity to humble themselves. We don't humble them. We give them an opportunity for them to humble themselves. Things like the offering. We can use the offering as an opportunity that every week, instead of taking that money and giving it into, our own budget, we can take that money and serve somebody, right? We can serve somebody in the community. We can set a goal with offerings, that money is there to be a servant, that it's a humbling thing. It's not a forced thing. It's not a, hey, you better give or God's not going to give to you thing. It's a, hey, you have an opportunity to be humble by giving your money that you've earned and putting it in here so that we might serve others. You can use your closing time, right? Some people call it the altar call. Some people call it, reflection time. You can use this time to, let kids pray for one another. That's a humbling thing, is somebody to pray for you. I know many of you probably pray somebody out, but man, why not take an opportunity to use this for humility? Let people pray for one another, or have stations around the room where people can go and they can pray for the world or the church or the community, or those types of things that allow students to humble themselves to pray for somebody else. There's all kinds of ways to inject humility into your services. And my encouragement is, as Tim Keller says it this way in his book, Reasons for God, and I paraphrase this, is Christians are known for being fanatical about politics, about worship, about evangelism, but what about being fanatical about humility? I think that is what gets the attention of the world, is fanatical humility. Loving one another, serving one another. And if 2020 has taught us anything, it should have taught us that we're not in control, right? That our youth ministries and our churches have been humbled because we can't stand against a pandemic. There is no structure. There is no business. There is no organization not affected by this. And, some of you have had to rethink what youth ministry is, what it means to make disciples, and maybe you should be more thankful for 2020 than you are, because it's taught you this valuable lesson about service and about humbling yourself before God. Take the humble moments from this past year that you've experienced and sprinkle them throughout your ministry throughout the year. The times that are going to be important to students are not going to be these times that are where the perfect program was there for them, but times of humility, times where they came underneath the grace of God and God poured out on them. And if you haven't noticed, I'm wearing this great hat from Sound Choices, and it says Choose Humility. And I would invite you to go over and check out their website at makesocho.com. And there you will find Daniel Bowden's creations put on t-shirts, on hats, on hoodies, and all of them are sayings that his mother would put into his lunchbox about making sound choices. There's a whole bunch of sayings in there, from spiritual to motivational, and they become a great witnessing tool, especially the hat that I was wearing tonight called Choose Humility. Go ahead and make your own sound choice and head over to makesocho.com to grab your hoodie, hat, or t-shirt. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the video today. I hope that you heard my heart. It is the Christmas season. It's a great time to embrace humility the way God came down to us, humbled himself, became God with us, and offer more times of humility to your students. Use this season as a great opportunity to choose humility. So that's it for today, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out for today. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Let me know you like the video and you want more of them. If you're brand new here to the channel, thank you so much for being here. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you get notified when these videos come out. Hit that little bell icon down there. And also, those of you that are regulars, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Leave your comments down below. How can you or anybody else inject more humility into their youth ministry? Would love to hear your comments. We'll talk to you guys later, and we'll see you guys in the next video.